Welcome everybody to the Leap Forward podcast presented by Riesterer Schnell. My name is Wyatt Davidson. I'm here with Trevor. We are digital product specialists, and we're here to talk about kind of a year-end review on Operations Center and how to manage your guys' farms digitally, and then kind of touching base on what we saw, what went well for 24, and then kind of going into 25 season, getting prepped for that.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think right away we want to dive into the Operations Center. So it's John Deere's platform where our tractors and all of our agronomic information go into. As we're working with customers, I think we're diving into their year-end review, seeing yields, trials, everything that went well. You got anything to add?
Yeah, awesome. We definitely saw a great harvest season. Weather conditions were good for everybody, and we saw that crop moistures during harvest season were sometimes at an all-time low for guys during that, so which definitely helped out on the drying side of it. Guys that are looking to kind of do some of that variety analysis now, what type of tools within the Operations Center could they utilize to try to break down from the beginning of the season to now the end of the season and kind of review that information?
Yeah, so with the Operations Center, with customers, we're loading their seeding maps into Op Center, and then we push those maps to the chopper, combine. That way the combine and chopper recognize those variety maps, and then when the customers are harvesting, that equipment already knows what those varieties are. So on the screen they can visually see what their yields are by variety, but then the biggest part is that it goes back to our Operations Center, and a customer can pull it up on their phone or computer and see exactly what that variety did across that field, that farm, the whole operation, so that they can make those informed decisions on varieties. So.
Very cool. So they might be using a tool like Field Analyzer within the Operations Center to could overlay or compare that planting variety map with that harvest map to get that split of data?
Yeah, yep, absolutely. Using the field analyzer and work analyzer. If they had any trials on those fields with biologicals to see if those worked. I think one thing that I'm seeing a lot of guys with our forage harvesters is they're utilizing the Harvest Lab 3000 on the spout, and no longer is it really just they're focused on yield. We're seeing a big uptick, and we can see that starch across the field, that crude protein. So you're seeing a lot of customers utilizing that to actually make decisions not just on tonnage in the field, but the constituents by variety as well. So
very cool, very cool. Touch on we've seen or heard reports of guys really having different aspects on planting dates. What tools would we use within the Operations Center to kind of compare planting dates to yield there as well?
Yeah, so with the work analyzer, we can filter any, the first week of planting, second week of planting. We can filter that out, and we can see the average yield by planting date. If it's a certain variety you planted early, you can break that out and see that against all the other averages in the field. So a lot of tools you can utilize to see where the planting dates are, but with the work analyzer you can just filter, and then you can get your field averages and season averages right there.
Very cool. And if guys they like the digital aspect, but they maybe wanted to print those maps out at the end of the year to try to just get their variety maps or planting data and kind of compare it on a PDF form, can they view that whole farm aspect within the Operations Center, or does it have to be done by field by field?
Yeah, so there's a couple different PDF reports we can do. We can do an Excel, a PDF summary, and then we can do those, I think what everybody does, kind of those one-sheeters where it shows the full field, the full map, and everything like that. And those are very popular. I see working with guys, yesterday working with a customer on printing those reports out for a customer that they harvest for. So I think it's very interesting that we still do have that ability to do that. And I guess the one thing I'm seeing more and more is with the Operations Centers, we can connect all of them together. That's how we're connected with our customers' Operations Centers. But I'm seeing a lot of custom operations partnering with their farms that they do work for, and we're able to send those maps over the air so that the same analysis that you can do on your Op Center, those customers can do that for theirs. So it's not just a piece of paper that gets
Yep.
lost in the office or gets coffee spilt on it. So.
Yep, awesome. So we got the holidays coming up here, but it sounds like the farmers got some homework, or at least some office time they can do some reporting on there. What went well for like this season for 24? What did we see on some technologies that we brought to the market and how those performed throughout the season?
Yeah, so a lot of new technologies that we've seen this year in the field. Our See and Spray, Exact Shot, harvest settings automation on our combines. But there was definitely some interesting information. You know, we had a couple of See and Spray units rolling this year, and seeing the 60 to 70% chemical savings. Was a tough year for See and Spray, just with residuals not working, weed pressures, but nonetheless, we're still seeing some really great savings with the See and Spray. So.
Awesome. You mentioned harvest automation. Can you touch more onto that?
Yeah, so we had our an LPB S7 800 combine running, so model year 25 combine. This combine's utilizing cameras in the front to do harvest settings, and they're using satellite imagery to predict the yield that's coming into the combine. So with that, we're able to kind of preemptively set the combine, you know, do the speed combine settings on the fly. So we're able to maximize that combine's efficiency through the field.
So with predictive ground speed management controlling the combine, almost fully autonomous there, what have we seen compared to guys that have operated the combine manually versus kind of this autonomous version of it?
Yeah, so we did a pretty extensive demo season this year with that combine. Went to a lot of customers, put a lot of acres through that machine this year, and on soybeans, you know, we've seen a 200 bushel an hour difference on soybeans, and that combine was 10 more bushel a gallon efficient. So I think it's pretty impressive to see those numbers, and especially on, like I said, we took it to a lot of customers. It was new technology to everybody, so I look to see that number to only increase with customers getting comfortable in those machines. So you get in a demo, you're not always looking to hammer out the acres in a demo. You're looking to understand the machine. So
very cool. Yes, it's definitely nice to see the technology being more productive and allowing it to do its system there. So. Touching on Exact Shot there, how can guys, you know, we can dig into Field Analyzer and see the savings on our chemical there. Can you touch on Exact Shot and what we kind of saw for 24? Yeah,
so Exact Shot on our planters this year, basically the pulsing fertilizer in furrow. We had that on our demo planter. It was a 1795 24 row 20-inch planter. Took it to a couple customers. We've seen some pretty impressive fertilizer savings there. So the one that sticks out to me is we took it to a customer that was planting some BMR. So it was probably a non-traditional variety where they were backing down the rate. So we were at 26,300 population, and you know, with that 20-inch planter, that's about a 12-inch gap between those seeds. So we've seen a 78% savings in furrow fertilizer with that, just due to the row spacing and the population. Now, we took it to a different customer, still the same planter, 20-inch planter. They were at like a 35,000 population, and they were at 66% savings. So I think it's pretty interesting to see that. I think we're going to live above that 66, 2/3 savings. And then those unique scenarios, we get a higher savings there. So that was interesting. And with all of looking at the yield data, we had some controlled places where we just put continuous. We didn't really see a difference. So that fertilizer is getting put on the seed.
Oh, wow. Very cool. So we got See and Spray technology, harvest speed, predictive speed ground management, and Exact Shot through the planters. Running some of the more advanced technology features. If a guy that maybe is running some older combines or some older tractors and is trying to get into this realm of capturing that data to make decisions in the future on, is there a kit out there that they could venture into to kind of get into that newer technology, but maybe at a cheaper entry point?
Absolutely, yeah. So this year, Deere rolled out a Precision Ag Essentials kit. There's been a decent amount of marketing out there on it, but that kit comes with a G5 Plus display, a 7000 receiver, and an M or an R modem. So that's really the three core principles to what a customer needs to collect data. So it's really a kit that the customer gets, puts in their tractor, and they're collecting data. They're using the latest and greatest technology that a model year 24 or 25 8R tractor has in it. So with that kit, it's that lower upfront cost, the subscription type model. Seeing a lot of success with those customers that have the 2630s, the 2600 displays in their combines, tractors, sprayers. It's really allowing them to get up into the technology, make that big jump. Where in the past with the Gen 4 displays, they didn't make that jump. This is really allowing them to jump into the technology and have a lower upfront and be able to probably justify that cost over a couple of years. So.
Okay, yeah, very cool. So if guys are, this is the time of the season to kind of recap on 24, looking through your data that we've collected through that season, seeing where the technologies have worked for you and maybe where they have not. Sooner or later, though, we are going to have to look for the next growing season here. So what are guys, after they've done that year-end review, going into 25, what should they be doing to get forward or getting ready for that next growing season?
Yeah, so right now we're working with customers on making sure their operations center's clean. So year's worth of data can also be a year's worth of some misspelled client farm field. Some boundaries that have changed, so over winter boundaries change. It's really going in there making sure that your operations center is exactly what your digital farm is, exactly what your regular farm is. So really setting yourself up so you have clean information in, that way you can get clean information out. So working with customers, merging fields if there was wrong field names, getting it really dialed into what it should be.
Yep. So after a full year of just working in the field, we kind of get some duplicate data entries from time to time, maybe some misspelled stuff from different operators and stuff like that. So getting that cleaned up definitely seems like a good process to get forward for 25. There's tools in the Operations Center, one particularly called Work Planner, where we can create this plan and send them out to the machines. Would you mind touching more on that?
Yeah, so Work Planner, basically pre-planning your work for the year. Working with a lot of customers they're asking me variety information from this year. So with that being said, I think they're purchasing their varieties for next year. We can get those varieties put in. We have a crop plan we know this is our intended rate on the field. We know the fertilizer. We can go ahead and make those plans, have those stored in our Operations Center in the Work Planner. And we can not only see the fields that we plan on doing, the populations, but now with Work Planner we can start to get product totals. So you can start to dive into if you got a certain amount of units of one variety and you want to plant it somewhere, you can start to dial that in and make sure that your product that you prepaid for and bought, make sure that you have enough or that you don't have too much. So really getting that dialed in with Work Planner, planning ahead. That way, when we get into season, it's in the display, your plan, and you can go ahead and execute that.
Awesome. Say a customer is wanting to try to do some trials for next year. Maybe they're working with their agronomists on different varieties or different seeding rates. What could they work with through their dealership here at Riesterer Schnell to kind of help with maybe some planning of some agronomy trials in the future? Is there any tools out there that we would be able to help or assist these growers in?
Yeah, so we have a unique tool that's available to us of Agronomy Analyzer through John Deere. So I would say it's a tool that probably hasn't been utilized enough, but it's something to where we can pre-plan trials. Basically, if you wanted to do we see a lot of soybean population trials going on lately with the trend of planting less population for soybeans. Okay. So we can go ahead and make that trial ahead of time. That trial actually becomes a prescription that we can run in our planters, so that when you're in season, you don't have to worry about setting your trial up, changing your planter rates. It's just something that would be within your work plan. Your prescription's there, you load the field, and you just go. And you're still being able to do a trial. And I think that's probably the biggest thing that I see is there's a lot of good intentions in the spring of setting up trials, doing different stuff to to try to see if something works versus the other. And when the hat drops, it's just hammer down to try to get as many acres in as possible. So this agronomy analyzer allows us to set that up ahead of time and to ensure that what we're trying to accomplish gets accomplished in spring.
Sounds like a very nice tool to work with the growers, dealerships, and even get those third-party providers in all together and try to talk about going in forward to 25.
Absolutely.
If a grower wanted to, maybe they wanted to set up their own trial, is there a prescription or map-based prescription creator within the Operations Center that a guy can play around with to try to build some planning for future 25?
Yeah, absolutely. Working with a couple customers right now actually on setting some of that stuff up. So within the Operations Center, we have TELUS Prescription Creator. It's a free prescription creator. You can import existing prescriptions. You can do prescriptions off of average yield. So we've got customers that have multiple years of harvest information, and we can load that. We can average those out. So you can create zones. Got a lot of guys when we're starting out, let's do 3 zones. Let's make it simple. Let's your average yield under 100 bushel, what have you, whatever your zones might be. We can put that stuff in there, and then we can create some basic prescriptions, and we can see what we're going to use on that field. So some guys, you're not trying to cut your inputs, you're just trying to disperse them where you should in the field. And other guys are looking to do some more profitability type of stuff, to where cut the population in the low areas, and then maybe don't increase your high yielding zones, but your profitability on those low yielding zones is going to go up. So there's a lot of tools that we can do, and like I said, it's a free prescription creator. You load your own data, you can freeform some zones. So worked with some customers on putting some random blocks in their field for increase the population 2,000 seeds to the acre, and see if that does anything, or fertilizer. We can do a lot of stuff with our planters right now. So
sounds like some great tools there within the Operations Center to kind of get these guys recapping on 24, and also looking forward into 25 there. You touched on, that Essentials kit comes with a John Deere display, John Deere receiver, and then a JD-Link modem there as well. If a guy already has maybe a display and a receiver and some older equipment, what can we do to, get that older equipment online or active, so then some of this process of collecting and sending these files to and from equipment can make these guys' lives a little bit easier?
Yeah. I mean, the day and age of the flash drive is something that we can definitely go away with our R&M modems from John Deere. So those are 4G modems that transfer the data over the air. Right now there's a billing discount on those. We have incentives to get the connectivity out to customers. So we can basically connect any piece of equipment that has a battery. So, the classic John Deere equipment, yeah, that's absolutely something we can go into. We can hook to the display, and we can pull that information. We've seen some pretty interesting cases where we've put modems on, 40 series tractors and a 9410 combine, right? So you can connect basically anything. Seeing customers use that, I talked about your complete digital farm of, I have customers that are using those modems on, work trucks, service trucks, skid steers, payloaders, competitive tractors, so that, they can go onto their phone and they can see all of their agronomic information, they can see all of their equipment at a glance, really just connecting them and giving them all the tools within the Operations Center.
Nice. I heard you touched on mobile app there. So Operations Center not only is a web-based platform for these guys, lots where we do kind of our post-year 24 recap, and then kind of more of the planning for 25. But that mobile app is also a great feature if you're on the go to try to get that recap and kind of look at that information. If a grower was having maybe some issues on the Operations Center themselves, or they wanted to be more engaged with the dealership to kind of provide some solutions to a service there, what do we offer at Riesterer Schnell to kind of help these guys out?
Yeah, so as me, you, our other digital specialists, and some of our other product specialists, we have support packages so that we can, one, set you guys up with all this support and all this technology. And two, really making sure that you're getting complete utilization and also optimizing that technology so that you guys are getting the most out of your equipment and out of your data. So, we do offer those packages on a yearly basis to work with the customers so that they can ensure that their investment's getting put to work and that they're getting the most out of their equipment, because this stuff isn't easy. It's changing every day. So for a lot of people, it's hard to keep up on, and to get the most out of it, sometimes it's good to have us involved so that we can ensure you have a successful season.
Nice, yes. I would agree there that having your dealership involved and even third parties, cooperatives, and your seed salesmen involved onto those accounts can definitely kind of bring that full picture together of that digital farm aspect. Trevor, was there anything else that you wanted to touch on today?
No, I think, like I said, getting everything set up for the year, making sure that you guys are reaching out if you have any questions. I think as we go forward for 25, we talked about a lot of the technologies that we've seen this year. That's only going to catapult into next year. The autonomous tractors coming. We have a lot of different technologies that our customers are going to see in the next couple of years, and it's only going to grow faster and faster. So, doing the fundamentals is going to be a great part to set them up for success in the future.
Very good. Well, thank you for listening to the Leap Forward podcast by Riesterer Schnell. Again, we appreciate Trevor's time here today, and we wish everybody a happy holiday season coming forward.
We're your John Deere dealer coming through for you, Riesterer and Schnell.